Okay, so I'm not going to waste your time in this video. I know how important this is, so I'm going to get into the only thing that's worked for me, and it literally took me a few weeks. So let's jump straight into it. We're going to end depression in 4 weeks using science-backed habits and protocols. Now, the issue is, here's the cycle. You feel like you have no purpose, no fulfillment. You're eating bad foods, seed oils, carbohydrates, the bad types, oats and granola and pasta and pizza, which is causing a crash and making you feel worse. You have no self-respect because, you stop taking care of yourself, you stop shaving, you stop taking showers, you stop dressing up in a nice way, and you start doing bad habits. So bad habits like you start playing video games, maybe you take drugs, maybe you stay indoors for like 12 hours a day without getting outside, you don't exercise, you don't do any of these. Now these are all symptoms. These are all causes, sorry, and that causes the symptom of low mental health. Now with low mental health, it makes these things worse. It makes your self-respect worse. It creates negative thoughts. You stop believing in yourself, you stop having no confidence. Then, over time, if you keep this up, you keep playing video games, you keep putting yourself indoors, you keep talking to yourself in a bad way, that in turn causes depression. And when you're depressed, it is much harder to do the right things. And the right things are like meditation, the right things are going outside, talking with friends, working on stuff, feeling energetic, waking up early in the morning, going to sleep at a correct time. It makes every one of these things hard to do. So it's harder for you to find your purpose. It's harder to be fulfilled by anything. In the past, you used to be able to run barefoot on grass, and now it's not so much fun anymore. You used to be able to just sit outside without your phone, and now you can't not go on your phone and not scroll. You can't stop. Like, it's almost become automatic. The first thing you do when you wake up is grab your phone. It's become automatic because it's just so much harder for you to do the right things. So, what if we make it easier for you to do the right things? What if it just became easy to stay consistent? What if you naturally were motivated and hard things became fun? Hard things like doing the work. Like for me, recording this video, I sat here for like 5 minutes thinking to myself, shit, how should I start this? But what if all of these things became fun? What if you had more self-respect? What if you became more energetic and you naturally woke up in the morning with energy and clarity, and the first thing you did was get to work because it's fun, because it's so fulfilling? What if, you had that natural confidence? Well, if we made it easier for you to do the right things, then you wouldn't really need to focus on increasing your mental health, would you? You wouldn't really need to focus on, getting rid of your depression, because hard things are fun. And so you do the hard things more often, which therefore causes your mental health to increase, which therefore gets rid of that depression, which therefore makes it easier and easier to do the hard things. Now, there's a caveat to this, and the caveat is we're all going to have bad days. We're all going to have bad hours, but we're not going to have bad months and bad years anymore. I've went through this shit for like 5 years, and it only recently I was able to get out of that because of this one thing, and this one thing helped me. Doing this one thing made it easier for me to meditate. It made it easier for me to go outdoors and work on my business and create videos. And, I was on this YouTube channel for like 4 or 5 years, and I was so inconsistent. I was uploading all sorts of different videos. It was hard for me. It wasn't fun. It wasn't fulfilling. It felt like a chore. Well, now it's just become so much easier and so much more fun for me. And this one thing that helps me. So before we get into that, I want to ask you a question. Do you think our ancestors had time to be depressed? Look at these 3 images that I put here. Beautiful sunrise, beautiful sunset, right? I mean, when you wake up, do you think our ancestors had time to, go on their phones? Imagine if they did have their phones. You get the idea, right? Now look at this photo. It's them hunting. It's a bunch of monkeys hunting. Do you think that they had time to sit around and do nothing. No, they were outdoors. They were doing fulfilling things. They needed to go on a hunt. Look at this. It's their family. It's their tribe. They're surrounded by similar people. Do you think our ancestors had time to be depressed? No, absolutely not, because they were busy, because they were outdoors, because they were always on the move. They were exploring new things. They were, conquering their tasks, and they were blessed by a few things, which I'm going to get into right now. Now, here is the secret sauce. Natural sunlight, nature and sunlight is ancestral energy. Now, if you go back to this photo here, this is all nature. They are surrounded by beautiful sunrises. They're surrounded by beautiful sunsets, mountains and jungles and grass on their feet. They're constantly outdoors. They wake up to the sun, which balances their circadian rhythm. They sleep to the sunset, which also balances their circadian rhythm. And we know a balanced and a good circadian rhythm increases serotonin. It increases your testosterone. It reduces cortisol and makes it easier for you to sleep. And when you sleep, you get better sleep. You get deep sleep. And when you wake up from deep sleep, you become more recovered. You wake up with energy. You wake up with clarity. And when your sleep is good, so is your testosterone. And when your testosterone is good, you feel like a man. When your testosterone is good, you have natural energy. High testosterone makes competition fun. It makes doing hard things fun. So what if we fixed a couple of these things which made everything else fun? Let's go back to that topic. I want to ask you a question. How do you feel coming back from a long day of work to home to do your, self-improvement habits or your purposeful work? Maybe you're trying to start a business. If you're an ambitious guy like me, I was trying to start a business when I was depressed as shit. Now, how do you feel coming back from work after a 12-hour shift? You feel tired. You feel unenergetic. You don't feel like working, right? You feel your brain fog. You just want to go to sleep. You just want to rest. Now, how would you feel coming back from a hike? It doesn't have to be a crazy hike, maybe multi-days. It just has to be an hour hike. But you're out in nature, you're exploring, like your primal ancestors would. Like the explorers that traveled all around the world and found the new world. How would you feel coming back from a hike? Out in nature, with beautiful waterfalls and the sun on your face. Breathing deeply the clear oxygen. Looking and seeing all the beautiful life, touching grass. I'm not even joking with you, touching fucking grass. How would you feel? Well, even though you might be physically tired, right? Your legs might hurt, your back might hurt, you're a bit tired. You feel energetic. You'd feel happier. You would feel calmer as well. You'd feel fulfilled. Your dopamine would be in the correct balance. You'd want to do that again. You would have had so much fun. Novelty, right? Novelty is like experiencing and exploring new things. Novelty. You would feel much better. So what if we made every day feel like you came back from a hike rather than coming back from work? Now, work doesn't have to be the job. Work can be staying indoors every single day. Because that's the same as work, right? Even though you're working on something unfulfilling, think about it. Where do you work? You probably work indoors, in an office, at a customer service job, at some sales job. You're surrounded by 4 walls and LED lights, with people you don't care about, doing a job that you don't even like and feel fulfilled by it. Now, the funny thing is, even though it doesn't have to be work, you could be home 5, 6, 7 hours a day in the morning trying to work on your business, trying to create something, and that would still feel like work because it's not fulfilling, it's not purposeful. Even though you know that if you put in enough work, it will one day free you, the work feels like work. It feels hard. You're not motivated. You don't feel clear. You keep jumping around and changing different shit about your business. You don't know what to record. You don't know if this was good enough. Before coming onto a video, you don't have the self-confidence to do that video to the best of your ability. So it doesn't even feel fun. It feels like work. And it's still the same shit. After you finish, you feel even more tired. You feel even more unclear, even less confident in yourself, and you just don't see a way out. And believe me, I went through that for 4 years. Look at my old videos in this YouTube channel and you will see I talked about like 10, 20 different topics. I constantly changed stuff around. I was inconsistent. My energy was low on videos as well. I didn't feel like doing this stuff because I didn't see a way out. It wasn't fun. It wasn't fulfilling. It just felt like more work. So what if we made your life feel like you always came back from a hike? You always came back energetic? Well, that's what we're going to talk about. The more time spent outdoors, the more raw and primal you feel. I need you to understand that. The more raw and primal that you feel. What if you went through life with this raw and primal energy? What do I mean by primal energy? Again, look at our ancestors. Let's go back to our ancestors. Do you think these guys, when they woke up in the morning, they snoozed and laid around? No, they had that raw, primal energy. They got up, they prepared for the hunt, and they got out hunting. What do you think they did when they came back? Well, with that raw, primal energy, after that hunt, because it was so fulfilling, because of that novelty, because they were out in nature under sunlight with people that they cared about, they came back home and it felt like coming back from a hike. They came back more energetic. They came back more fulfilled. Their dopamine was right. Their circadian rhythm is still balanced. They have clarity. They have focus. So they came back and they celebrated. How do you think they celebrated? They didn't drink alcohol and waste time and, do all that shit. They laughed. They shared the bounty. They had fun. How do you think they ended the nights? They probably watched the sunset with their family, with the people around them. Again, how do you think they woke up? They woke up to the sunrise with energy, with that raw, primal energy to conquer the day. So what if we just gave you that raw, primal energy? What if you were able to build that enough so you started to not only have that energy, but you started to feel like a man again? A man with energy, with the right focus and clarity conquer the day. Well, that's what we were talking about. The primal lifestyle is a guaranteed way to fix your health. The more sunlight you have, the more time you spend in nature, and the more ancestral foods that you eat results in less cortisol, more serotonin, more testosterone, more energy, more clarity, less time for bad thoughts. And what's funny is all of these things create a better man. Think about it. You don't feel like a man because you're always stressed about the wrong things. Your serotonin isn't high enough, so you don't feel happy, you don't feel calm, you feel unfocused and hazy. Your testosterone has tanked, and because of that, you don't have the energy to conquer the day. You don't have confidence because of low testosterone. You don't have that natural fulfillment that you get from doing hard things like lifting hard weights or doing hard work. You don't have energy, so you don't feel like a man. You feel like a bitch. You feel weak. You feel like the world has got you by the balls. You feel like no matter what you do, it is out of your control, and that you should just keep waiting and waiting and waiting, and one day things will click. Well, let me tell you, things will never click. And I believed in that for so long. I thought that someone was going to save me. I thought that one day I would wake up and I would just have this energy to finally fix everything, and it never came. You would have more clarity, because with less clarity, you're less unsure on the things that you need to do. You keep changing things. One day it's about becoming a YouTuber, the next day it's becoming a farmer, the next day it's becoming a trader, and then you give it all up and you think, you know what, fuck it, I'm just going to travel. And then before you even buy your tickets, you've changed your mind again because you don't have clarity and focus. And you always have bad thoughts. Bad thoughts is in turn destroying your testosterone. It's in turn making you more stressed. And that is just causing the same cycle over and over again back here. The cycle is low mental health, low depression, and it just makes it harder and harder to do the right things. So what if, again, we just focused on these three things: sunlight, nature, and ancestral foods, and in turn they reduced and increased the good and the bad parts, and therefore made you feel like a primal man again. And what if, because you feel like a primal man, it was easier for you to stay consistent. It was easier for you to be naturally motivated every morning. You would wake up early for the sunrise, get sunlight, and just get straight to work or straight to your self-improvement habits. What if you had self-respect and energy, and what if the hard things became fun? Well, that is exactly what we're going to focus on before we do any of the meditation stuff, before we go and hit PRs in the gym, before we focus on creating a business and saving our life and doing all these different things that require you to be focused, for you to be energetic. Before we do any of those things, what if we just made you feel like a primal man again? Well, here's your protocol. And I guarantee you, if you just follow this for a week, you will start to feel the benefits within the first day. And if you repeat this week on week for 4 weeks, I guarantee you, you will feel like a primal man again. And like we talked about, feeling like a primal man just gives you that primal energy, that life force, that zest to wake up in the morning and to do the hard things. It gives you that self-confidence to believe in yourself and your actions, and knowing that all this hard work you're doing will one day pay off. And even if it doesn't, well, fuck, it was fun to do it anyway. What if we gave you that energy and that mindset? Wouldn't everything so much be easier? Wouldn't it be so much more fun to build that business, to do the self-improvement habits, to find friends and build a tribe and save yourself? Well, that's exactly what this protocol is about. And trust me, I tried everything from meditation to yada, 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 to yada, but it was always hard because I never had the energy, the clarity, the natural motivation to do them. So instead, I focused on these 4 things. And this is exactly what you're going to focus on for the first month that you go through fixing your mental health. Wake up earlier to the sunlight. Begin the day fasted and hydrated. Build up energy with exercise. And again, I don't mean hitting PRs or going and lifting big weights. I'll get into that. And the last thing you're going to do is spend free time outdoors. Free time that you would otherwise spend sitting down and scrolling, sitting down and watching bullshit videos, playing video games, or wasting time. Spend all that free time outdoors. So let's dive into these straight away. Wake up earlier to the sunlight. Wake up 30 minutes prior to what you normally wake up to. And just spend the first 30 minutes outside. I have a balcony right here. If you have a balcony, go to your balcony. Otherwise, go to your front yard, your backyard, or just get outside onto the street and go get sunlight in your eyes for the first 30 minutes of you waking up. The easiest way to do this is literally with like minimal effort, get out of bed and just go to a sunny part of your home and open the window and just sit there exposed to the sunlight. This might be a bit hard, but I guarantee you, if you do this first thing in the morning with minimal effort, just go to a part of your house where there's sunlight, open the window and get sunlight on your face, the next day, you will naturally crave wanting to go outdoors. That's the first thing you're going to do. Wake up and spend the first 30 minutes of your morning just in complete sunlight. Before you do anything else, before you focus on meditation or, doing business work or anything else, that is the first thing that you're going to do. The next thing, you're going to begin the day fasted and hydrated. So hydrate with water, 2-3 cups of water, put a bit of salt in it, maybe put some honey in it. But you're not going to eat at all for the next 4 or 5 hours. And instead, you're going to go through the day hydrated and fasted. Why? Because usually when you eat first thing in the morning, your body has to use energy to digest all that food. That energy could be used in your brain doing other things, but instead you're using that energy to digest food, which is making you feel a bit weaker. It's making you feel a bit tired and hazy, which is what we do not want, because when you feel these things, it just makes it easier for you to do the bad habits, because that's how we feel most of the time. We feel hazy, we feel unfocused, unclear, and we feel tired. And because of these four things, we do the bad habits because they're just easy. They don't take much time. You don't need to be focused to play video games. You don't need to be clear to spend time scrolling on your phone and doing bullshit. So instead, we're going to begin the day with complete energy. And the next thing you're going to do is build up that energy with a little bit of exercise. What I mean by that is literally a small walk, a sprint, a 20-second sprint just up and down the street. Sprint as hard as you can and then stop. And it's martial arts. That's personally what I love doing. I wake up, go get sunlight, and in the sun with my shirt off, exposed to the sun, I do some martial arts. I do shadow boxing. So I get into the Muay Thai stance. I start doing some elbows, some punches, some hooks, some kicks and checks. And that does a few things. It increases your heart rate. It increases energy. And to be honest with you, there is something about shadow boxing or training outdoors that just makes you feel so primal. And that primal energy is the whole purpose of this video if you didn't understand by now. And the last protocol is for the first 4 weeks of going through this, you are going to spend free time, all your free time outdoors. Again, this doesn't have to be go out to a national park, go for a walk at the forest, go to the park, because I know that's just going to be hard for you when you first start. Again, we haven't built that primal energy yet, so you don't desire that yet. So the easiest way to do this is, again, find a sunny part of your home, a part of your home where there's enough sunlight, open the window and just literally sit exposed to the sun. Go outside into your front yard, to your backyard, or to your balcony. Sit in the sun and breathe in oxygen. Look around in the surroundings. Walk barefoot on grass. You just need to spend more time outdoors. Anything is better than sitting around and scrolling on your phone. So if we can get rid of the scrolling on your phone by instead replacing that with just sitting outdoors, and you don't even have to do anything, like literally doing nothing and standing outdoors is much better than scrolling on your phone. It is much better than anything else that you would previously do. That is the 4 protocols that you're going to go through for the first 4 weeks of this transformation. And I guarantee you, the shift in mental health will begin in the first day. Another bonus tip, this might sound a bit weird, but I stand by it 100%. I believe in it, and I guarantee you it will work if you believe in it too, is almost channeling that primal energy within you whenever you do these things. How do I do that? Think about your ancestors. Think about yourself as a killing machine. A killing machine that's able to hunt the boar, that's able to, tear apart the animal and take the meat and feed their family. The primal machine that's able to kill other men literally through combat with your bare hands. If you think about that primal energy and you channel it, you will go through self-alchemy where the old part of yourself, which felt weak, which felt unconfident and hazy and, unmotivated, you will channel that and transmute that energy to a man that feels like he's capable of destruction and conquer. So the next thing, with good mental health, after the first 4 weeks, when you begin to feel like a primal man again, then you will focus on finding your purpose and finding that fulfilling work. And then you will focus on mapping and building out your dream life and finding relatable friends on the same path. The big issue is, here's the biggest mistake everybody makes when they're first trying to start and improve their mental health, is they try to find the fulfilling work first. They try to build and map out their dream life first. They try to find relatable friends on the same path first. But the issue is, again, you're lacking the most crucial parts of this thing, which is, it's hard for you to stay consistent. You don't have natural motivation. Hard things are hard and they're not fun. They feel like work. You have no energy or self-respect. Again, those things are hard because you're stressed, because your testosterone is low, because you don't have clarity, because you're always thinking about bad things. How do you think you can do any of these things? Find purposeful work, begin building your dream life, and find relatable friends if up here is not right? And that's what I spend most of my life doing. Even though my brain wasn't working properly and my body wasn't optimized and my health was terrible, both physically and mentally, I still tried to build my purpose and my YouTube channel and my business, and it never worked. It never got me anywhere. I tried to stay in the gym and build my dream physique, but it never worked because I was always inconsistent. 4 days of self-belief would then be followed by 3 months of a depressive rut because I never fixed the one thing, which was becoming that primal man again. Changing my brain to become more primal, to have that ancestral energy within me that has that self-belief and that confidence and that natural motivation and desire to do the right things in the morning. And I promise you, if you focus on these 4 things, waking up earlier to the sunlight, beginning the day fasted, building up energy with exercise outdoors in the sun, and just spending your free time outdoors in the sun, out in nature, you will slowly build that natural primal energy again, and that primal energy will make it so much easier for you to do the hard things. The biggest issue is you don't feel like a man that is capable of doing any of these. So if we can make you feel like a man again, a primal man again, then you will feel like you are capable of doing all of these things, which will give you the natural motivation and desire to do them anyway. And so you will do them, and you will not find video games fun. You won't find any of this other bullshit fun. You'll start doing the hard things, and rather the hard things will be fun now. And that's it. That's all you need to do. Focus on becoming a primal man again, and that primal energy now you can transmute to doing other things, like building out your dream life, like finding that purposeful work, like getting into a routine and building that self-improvement habits up. All of these things will become easier once you become a primal man again. I hope this video helped you. I know how important that was for you. That's why I didn't spend any time cutting around the bullshit. That's why I didn't tell you any of my story. So I hope you take this. Believe me, if you just do these 4 things, life will become fun for you again. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you around.